Are you?
Yeah. No,
That really what it is? That's awesome. Yeah, I will. Go for more. Great. The day we done it, the day you're issues, we went up there. You get the time off, 23 Okay, that makes sense. Oh,
Good, as long as it's 5:30. Call this regular meeting of the Eufaula City Council for August 7th, 2023 to order at 5:30 PM. At this time, I'd like the invitation to be done by Chief Shepard.
Everybody would please put your hands off. Heavenly Father, again, we thank you another opportunity to come before you, Lord. We just pray for wisdom tonight, dear Heavenly Father, and knowledge. We just thank you so much for this wonderful community we live in. Please put your protective hand over each and every one of us, dear Lord. And again, thank you so much for your son Jesus, who died for each and every one of us. In his precious name we pray. Amen.
The Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item, oath of office for Ward 4. Mr. James Hinton, come forward.
Mr. Hickman,
Yes.
I'm going to ask you to raise your right hand and to repeat after me.
Okay.
After I say I, state your name. I
James Thomas Hickman,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America,
that I will support the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America,
the laws of the state of Oklahoma,
the laws of the state of Oklahoma,
and the Eufaula Code of Ordinances,
and the Eufaula Code of Ordinances,
and that I will not knowingly
and that I will not knowingly
receive directly or indirectly
receive directly or indirectly
any money or other valuable thing
any money or any valuable thing
for the performance or non-performance
for the performance or non-performance
of any act or duty pertaining to my employment,
of any act or duty pertaining to my employment,
other than the compensation allowed by law,
other than the compensation allowed by law,
and that I will fully discharge or faithfully and fully discharge my duties
and that I will faithfully and fully discharge my duties
as a member of the City Council
as a member of the City Council
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Mr. Hickman, you are now Councilman Hickman, and I think that you get to start a very invaluable job tonight immediately,
Oh, thank you.
okay? And congratulations.
Thank you very
Okay?
much.
I'll let you step around and sign right there, and then I will sign, subscribe. Good. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
There we go. All right.
Nice.
Counselor, Vice Mayor Cummings.
Here.
Counselor Ward is absent. Counselor Upton.
Here.
And Counselor Hickman.
Here.
Okay, moving on to the consent agenda. All matters listed under the consent agenda are routine by the city council and will be enacted by one motion. Therefore, there will not be a separate discussion of these items. However, if a discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered separate. The item will then be placed in its proper order on the regular meeting agenda and will be considered at that time. Item number 6, the approval of minutes. The regular council meeting, July 10th, 2023, and the special council meeting, July 14th, 2023.
Go ahead.
Read all the way through. Item 7, approval of the treasurer's report. Item 8, approval of the July 2023 payroll figures for the general fund in the amount of $89,539. Item 9, receipt of July claims, city default.
I'll second.
Vice Mayor Cummings.
Yes.
Counselor Upton.
Yes.
Counselor Hickman.
Yes.
Those items pass. Moving on to items removed from the consent agenda. Item number 10, consideration of acceptance, approval, adoption, rejection, amendment, and/or postponement for the appointment to fill the open seat on the Eufaula Planning and Zoning Commission.
Vice Mayor, this agenda item is to fill the open seat that occurred because of Dennis Henson's resignation when he relocated to Texas. We advertised for interested parties. We received 2 individuals expressed interest in that. They're both here tonight. We have Chelsea Lewis and Serena Clevenger. And they're here, they can come up and make a presentation to you, talk about their experiences and whatnot. And then, once they make the presentation, then council can vote for the appointment. So, Serena, y'all go ahead and come on up first, please.
Hey guys, I know all of you know me, I'm Serena, I'm the chamber director. I just really feel I would be a great fit for that committee. I have all that experience with the community and the businesses. I feel like I get that seat, I will be able to learn even more about the committees and the signage grants and the sidewalks and what can and can't be on them and stuff on the building, so that I can teach them, the ins and outs of all that. The business, I don't know, we all get told different things from the businesses, but my experience with them and talking to them is, it's not that they don't want to do it, they just don't know what to do. They don't understand the code and the way it's written, so that if I can learn it, then I can help them. And I think we can improve so much more of that and make it friendlier. Thank you for your time. Any questions?
How long have you been at the chamber?
The chamber, I have been the director for almost 2 years now.
Okay.
And I've been volunteering and got hired in between a couple directors for probably going on 5 years now.
Okay, so you've been up there for 5 years. Okay, and you have good interactions.
Yeah, I feel like
with the
Absolutely.
businesses and kind of their
Yes,
needs.
absolutely.
And I mean, uh, and like, when did you, like I saw in here, when did you apply for it? Like,
Apply for this
Uh-huh.
seat. It was what, 2 weeks before the deadline.
okay,
I applied for it, I believe.
great. Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Chelsea, please.
Hi, everybody. I'm Chelsea Lewis. A lot of you may not know me. My husband, my son, and I moved full-time to Utah a little over 2 years ago. We've owned a home here for 13 years prior to that. I currently am a realtor here in town for Lakeside Real Estate. And my previous life, career, I was a landman for 17 years in Oklahoma City. So I feel like my background could play a key role or bring some, a different maybe perspective or voice to the committee. Also hoping to act as a liaison to the community or businesses, and mainly just wanting to try and do my part to get involved in the community of our town and want to just help them with the So,
Now, I saw in your resume, you have several, you have some education.
yes,
And you've attended OU, OCU, correct?
yes, sir. Yes. That was my last master's was in energy law, so it's just enough law classes to make me.
Somewhat dangerous.
Yes, exactly. Teasing though, but yes. But mainly that was all focused, obviously, kind of in oil and gas field too, but it was an easy translation to real estate.
Awesome. So you've lived here, how long have you had a house?
Full-time, 2.5, almost 2.5 years.
2 years. You've had a house here.
Yes, and we actually just bought the house right in front of what was our previous lake house. So it's still in the same ward and everything, but yeah. And that was, gosh, had it for 13 years.
Awesome.
So,
You just have loved, you follow it, so you just
yes,
decided
I
to move
think my
back here.
husband and I always tried to find a way to make it work. Not that we maybe needed some perspective during COVID, but it gave it to us
Yeah.
that life is short, you don't get a long time. So,
So what was one of your big desires to have made you apply?
I think just to be able to contribute or help for kind of some of the things that Serena has mentioned, and I don't know probably as much and don't have as much experience as she does, but
Sure.
just trying to be a voice for people in the community as a liaison to that person in between, and helping to understand, because I know I really probably didn't, and trying to
Sure.
figure things out. So I was just hoping to put my name in the hat and be considered.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Anybody else? All right.
So that's the two choices we have. That was what was submitted, so it's really the pleasure of the council. You feel like you would like to nominate. We're going to have a second seat come open next month with Mr. Hickman's resignation from the planning and zoning. So, we're going to do this again in September. So,
Now, say we go with one, does the other one kind of roll over to the?
the way that I have, can they move for two, the way that the agenda is written?
Because
I think we
when it
can only
says
go
C,
for
there's
just
one.
one, correct? That's correct. So we'll have to bring the your seat back.
Okay.
And in the September meeting and address it again.
Because I mean, as I was reading through both of their resumes, like, and I know Serena and her work that she does, but I do like both the resumes. And both ladies seem very, very wonderful, so, and have a desire for it as well, so it's really.
Right now, I'll entertain a motion.
When I look at both, I see that Chelsea has a great background, great resume. Seems like a very sweet lady. And I would like to see her on that board. However, for me, I know that Serena has done so much work in the city, so I would make the motion that we go with Serena as for this seat, and with the hope and desire that Chelsea next month would possibly put her in there for the next seat. So I make the motion that we elect Serena.
Sorry,
I didn't hear
I apologize.
Vice Mayor Cummings,
Yes.
Counselor Upton,
Yes.
Counselor Hickman.
Yes.
That passes. Congratulations, Ms. Pleasure.
Thank you guys very much.
And Chelsea, thank you again for placing your name in there. So hope to see you next month.
Moving on to item number 11. Approve an application for a zoning change from R1 residential to CG commercial general at the following location: lots 3, 4, and the east 29 feet of lot 5 and block 85, City of Eufaula, McIntosh County, Oklahoma. Commonly known as vacant lot on the southwest corner of Highway 9 and Water Street.
So, Ms. Waddell approached the planning and zoning about rezoning this property, even though it's along Selman. It was assumed that it was a commercial property, but after research, it was found to be residential. They are looking to put in a detail shop, is that correct? And so it's going to require that rezoning. Last month, at the last planning and zoning meeting, they heard the request, approved the request and forwarded it up to you for final approval. So, Ms. Waddell, if you'd like to come up and just kind of talk to them a little bit about your project.
Hello, I'm Donna Weedle, and my son-in-law, Devin Hughes, he kind of works with Blackout Tents. They're kind of working together, and they're wanting to relocate. And if any of you guys have ever been out there, the dirt road is not good for a detail business. So we were wanting to purchase that property. Right now, Rolly McIntosh owns it. But we wanted to get it rezoned before we actually purchased it, because, you can't do anything with it if it's not. So basically, it's gonna be a mobile detail tinning. They're gonna do like an express detail. We're gonna do a really nice metal building.
And that piece of land right there,
Mhm.
that's right behind Mr. Stafford's place,
Yes.
correct? Okay. Is there gonna be sufficient clearance for the traffic coming in and out of there?
Yeah, we've already went out there, and we've kind of like measured off like our building, how it would fit on there. We've done all that, and it worked perfectly.
Okay.
So, and I know there's like an alley right there that's open, so that's gonna even be better, for traffic and coming in.
When we were looking at this at the planning and zoning, we thought it was already commercial.
Yeah,
I
we
I
did
mean, most
too.
people drive by and would say, oh, that's commercial.
Mhm.
So that's why I was at that meeting and we voted to accept that.
All right, well, thank you, ma'am. Do I have anything? If that's the case, I'll entertain a motion. I'll make such an approve. Any next motion?
I second.
Vice Mayor Cummings,
Yes.
Counselor Upton,
Yes.
Counselor Hickman.
Yes.
Item passes. Moving on to item number 12. Consideration of acceptance, approval, adoption, rejection, amendment, and/or postponement of the renewal of the annual lease agreement with MC Nutrition Services Corporation for July 1st, 2023.
MC Nutrition Services is the contract holder with the Eastern Oklahoma Development District that funds and provides the senior meal services that we have here. Every year it requires a new lease. We approved this exact same lease as an operating lease last year. The lease rent doesn't change, still $4,800 per year. And it's just normal housekeeping and just, ask your approval.
I make the motion to approve the lease.
I'll second.
Vice Mayor Cummings,
Yes.
Counselor Upton,
Yes.
Counselor Hickman.
Yes.
Item passes. Item number 13, consideration of acceptance, approval, adoption, rejection, amendment, and/or postponement of item A, ordinance 23-8-1, amending ordinance 20-3-02, section 12-1470, off-street parking and loading requirements for various types of uses.
So we were approached in about 2 planning and zoning meetings ago by Family Dollar. And one of the issues that they had was the ratio for outside parking, for parking on a commercial site, its ratio. That ratio was 225 feet of square foot of building space. You have to have one parking space. And that particular ratio was more geared to a more of an urban traffic, that you might see in Coweta, because some of our ordinances were modeled off of Coweta. And so they came in and asked for a variance, and which we approved. But it got us to talking, is the 225 square feet of floor space for every parking spot a little too tight? And so after discussing it and doing a little research, we felt like it was. Presented that information to planning and zoning. They reviewed it, and they recommended a ratio of 250 square foot per parking spot. And that's what this ordinance addresses. And we're only, when you get into the ordinance, there's actually 2 columns in the chart. One of them is for off-street parking, and one of them is for loading requirements. This ordinance only deals with the off-street parking. That's it. Okay. And then if you do approve it, then we have an emergency clause attached to it. You'll want to vote for item B following, and then that lets us publish it. And then once it's published, it becomes active at that point after publication.
I will say too, like that was one of the things that, we didn't want to go higher than 250 because we are a lake town, and, people pull into Family Dollar or Dollar General and have their boats connected to it as well. So, we kind of wanted to kind of give some space there as well. But, when we looked at some of it, it was a pretty tight on how we had a pretty narrow 225. So.
Okay. I'll make a motion to accept. I'll second.
Vice Mayor Cummings,
Yes.
Counselor Upton,
Yes.
Counselor Hickman.
Yes.
Passes. Now looking down to item B on that same 13B, emergency clause on ordinance 23-8-1 as referred above.
I'd make the motion that we approve the emergency clause.
Second.
Counselor Cummings, Vice Mayor Cummings, sorry.
Yes.
Counselor Upton.
Yes.
Counselor Hickman.
Yes.
Both items pass. Moving to item number 14, Consideration of acceptance, approval, adoption, rejection, amendment, and/or postponement of 14A. Ordinance 23-8-2, amending 11-211, decorations, flowers, and planting regulations.
So this particular ordinance is, the reason we're requesting this is it deals with headstones, the placement of headstones on the grave. And we had a request to place a headstone on the foot of the grave rather than the head. As we went through the ordinance to research it, we found that there was no clarity. There was no guidelines as far as the placement of a headstone, foot, head to the side. And we felt like that in our cemeteries, everything we have has a headstone at the head of the grave, which is the east, and nothing at the foot. And we wanted to make sure that we were able to stay consistent with that. That way, it's just consistent throughout our cemeteries and everything. And so that's what this ordinance does. It creates a section in this to address the headstones and to keep it with what are traditional standards for burials and placement of stones.
I think that's very important. I make that motion that we approve the ordinance for decoration, flowers, and planting regulations. I think that's very important.
Vice Mayor Cummings? Counselor Upton?
Yes.
Counselor Hickman?
Yes.
Moving down to 14B, emergency clause or ordinance 23-8-2 as referenced above.
I make the motion that we approve the emergency clause for the ordinance.
I'll second.
Vice Mayor Cummings?
Yes.
Counselor Upton?
Yes.
Counselor Hickman?
Yes.
Those items passed. Moving to item number 15. Consideration of acceptance, approval, adoption, rejection, amendment, and/or postponement of pay application number 4 from Boyd Construction in the amount of $40,964.80 for the splash pad project.
So this is just payment number 4 in the project. We are moving along slower than we would like, but given some of the weather we fought in the early part of July and scheduling, getting everything scheduled, but we're making progress. Okay. The splash pad is poured, the appurtenances and all the spray devices are plumbed. We've actually tested them to make sure they're good. We've just recently poured the middle patio section for the canopy benches that'll be there. And so now we're at the point of the playground equipment, which there's a couple items that's been backlog for a number of months that we're hoping to have by the 12th to the 15th of this month. And then the playground equipment will be finished up, and we'll finish pouring the sidewalk and the parking and get everything finished up. So moving ahead, but this is just a routine payment.
And
That's progress.
I'm just slightly ignorant, like on the number 4, like how many? I was just curious.
How many will we have?
I mean, like what's, yeah, like
How many payments? Well,
what's to be expected, I guess.
well, it depends on the amount of progress they make.
Okay.
So if they were to go in, we've had a $275,000 payment.
Okay.
And then we've had a $40,000 payment. So it all depends on the amount of progress they make
Gotcha.
with that project.
Yep.
And then that's what creates that pay application.
Gotcha.
Based on the materials used and labor.
If those back order parts come in an approximate time that you give them, what are we looking at as far as?
I'm hoping by the end of August. I was hoping we'd have it by the end of July, but I hate giving them.
Well, I understand, yeah, I mean, it happens, and just kind of, I know a lot of people ask, so yeah, trying to get it.
I want to cross my fingers and say, hopefully by the end of August.
That's a promise.
That's a wish.
Okay, motion?
I'll make motion.
A second.
Vice Mayor Cummings,
Yes.
Counselor Upton,
Yes.
Counselor Hickley.
Yes.
Item passes. Item number 16, remarks, inquiries by the council. You guys got anything?
I just want to say, you know, I'm excited to be here. I want to thank everyone for their support and their encouragement for me. And, you know, I look forward to working with this council, working with Jeb on just on how we can work to constantly improve Eufaula in any way. So I just want to thank everyone.
Well, I like the whole hog days was the thing I was really interested in. I didn't get to get around as much as I wanted to, but I was really pleased with the turnout of people. There was people everywhere and it seemed like a lot of happy people smiling and doing their thing. So everybody seemed to stay safe. I really appreciate everybody's hard work and time that they spent being involved in it. So,
I know we have a few people coming, a lot of people coming to me actually and said that they kind of enjoyed more of the inflatable things and the actual carnival this year. And maybe just been a few people with other kids, I don't know, but they kind of seem to enjoy that rather more than that little carnival that they used to come in, which even there, but I think, like Jamie said, I didn't get around everywhere, but I was around on Main Street quite a bit on Friday evening, stuff like that. It was a pretty good turnout for us, so pretty happy about that.
Can I say something? Can I say something?
So
I just want to say thank you to the city of Eufaula, to all of you, because I think it went really well too. We appreciate all your help. And we were nothing but good things too. So, thank you.
We go on to item 17, announcements. Are there any announcements?
I'd like to make a couple of comments. All right. So, as everyone knows, Councilwoman Mauser's been fighting some health issues and, you know, she's been in the hospital for a while and trying to get back up on her feet. And so, last week she resigned, she issued, you know, submitted her resignation effective immediately. So, Kay and I will be discussing kind of a plan, get the dates, because we'll have the same type of process we had to fill Ward 4. We'll have a window of time that we can make an appointment if you so choose. Then we can also choose to do the special election as we did last time. So it'll be up to the council, their choice of the path you would like to take when it comes time. So we'll have some more updates, you know, upcoming with that. Second item that I want to announce is that in the last 2 weeks, we've been going through our interviews for the open position of police chief. I interviewed a retired lieutenant from Shawnee, a retired master sergeant out of Oklahoma City, and also interviewed interim chief Briney. After going through the interview process and skills and attributes and whatnot, I'm going to appoint, or actually already have appointed David as the new police chief for Eufaula. He's, in my time working with David, he's demonstrated exemplary leadership. You know, he's a great mentor. He's very knowledgeable in procedures, and I look for nothing other than growth, good positive growth in our department. So I want to give everyone, give David a hand.
And touching on that, I actually got the pleasure of working with David whenever I was still on the force here, and you're 100% right. He does bring a wealth of knowledge and experience. So, good to have you on board. Thank you. Is that it?
That's all I have.
All right. Need a motion for adjournment.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Vice Mayor Cummings,
Yes.
Counselor Upton,
Yes.
Counselor Hickman.
Yes.
We are adjourned at 6:04 PM. Now we're going to call to order the Public Works Authority meeting at 6:04 PM.
Vice Mayor Cummings,
Here.
Mayor Warren is absent, Counselor Upton.
Here.
Counselor Hickman.
Here.
Moving on to the consent agenda. All matters listed under the consent agenda are routine by the Public Works Authority and will be enacted by one motion. Therefore, there will not be a separate discussion of these items. However, if the discussion is decided, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered separate. The item will then be placed in its proper order on the regular meeting agenda and will be considered at that time. Item number 2, approval of the minutes. The approval of the regular authority meeting, July 10th, 2023, and the special authority meeting, July 14th, 2023. Approval of the July 2023 payroll figures for the Eufaula Public Works Authority in the amount of $49,337.46. Number 4, receipt of July claims, Eufaula Public Works Authority.
I make the motion, we accept the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Vice Mayor Cummings,
Yes.
Counselor Upton,
Yes.
Counselor Hickman.
Yes.
Passes. Moving on to items removed from the consent agenda. Item number 5, consideration of acceptance, approval, adoption, rejection, amendment, and/or postponement consideration of acceptance. Approval, adoption, rejection, amendment, and/or postponement of pay application number 5 from Lone Hickory Cattle LLC for the CWSRF sewer project in the amount of $41,792.90.
This is a routine payment. This payment will be for the work that's being completed up on Norton Hill. You'll notice that the amount's down a little bit. They had some equipment problems, a jetter problem, a camera problem, and then, so it slowed it down just a little bit of the rain in, the 1st of July as well. So, this routine business for this project.
I make the motion, we approve item number 5 for the stated amount.
I'll second.
Vice Mayor Cummings,
Yes.
Counselor Upton,
Yes.
Counselor Hickman.
Yes.
Item passes. Item number 6, consideration of acceptance, approval, adoption, rejection, amendment, and/or postponement consideration of acceptance, approval, adoption, rejection, amendment, and/or postponement of engineering services for the ARPA grant wastewater treatment plant improvement.
Was just giving you extra practice. Okay, so, late last year, we had applied for a competitive $1 million ARPA grant. We had, we funded for a big portion of sewer line projects in town. And we also have a need at the wastewater plant. So we actually applied for the grant, was awarded a $1 million grant. So I have Michael here, he's going to make the presentation on, this is to approve the engineering services to execute that grant, and that project is going to be paid for with it, and kind of describe some of the improvements that we want to make at the Eufaula wastewater plant.
Is that a match grant?
No,
So
this is $1 million. Here you go.
100%.
100%, yes.
Okay.
Vice Mayor, council members, congratulations. on
Thank you.
the appointment. I don't have a presentation, I just wanted to talk about the timeline of what we've been working on in the city for the past couple of years. It started with a grant from OWRB to do a sewer assessment, where we pulled every lid, looked down in it, looked at what the sizes were, and modeled the system for sewer flows, and then made recommendation on improvements, but not just for the sewer capital improvements, for the wastewater treatment plant too. That included a walkthrough and assessment. And so we've gone on a second step after that grant and got an additional grant from OWRB for the construction of the capital improvements on the sewer system, which we're underway right now. But when we were presented with the ARPA grant, Jeff's focus was to take a look at what needed to be done in the plan. So we looked at the CIP and picked out 2 projects that fell within the budgetary numbers that we had, $1 million plus some soft costs for construction or any other items that may be needed for loan closing. And I say loan closing is still a grant, but it goes through OWRB, so it'll be treated a lot like a closing. And we picked aeration for racetracks out there, which are currently aerated by a scrubber spinning and not outdated, but extended life aeration through jet headers, which are not really functional at this time. So one of the items we talked about was to put full floor aeration in there, as well as to update the 2 clarifiers that are out there. And those 2 items fell within the budget numbers that we had in the CIP, and we wanted to focus on that because I believe we were selected by proposals early this year.
So you say 2 clarifiers?
Yes.
Okay.
So when the waste works comes in, it comes up through a cone, and there's a lot of metal equipment, a weir around it, and a scraper that helps to clean it. A lot of that equipment is starting to deteriorate and kind of fall apart. So that was one of those easy apples we could pick off the tree. We can pull one clarifier down and replace all the insides, and then bring it up and put another one down and replace it.
Repairing a part of it though, is that gonna create any type of anything else to work harder or anything like that? Or we're gonna have any type of malfunctions or?
We don't foresee that right now. They're operating still. It's just repairing them would make them function a lot more highly. The scraper arms for the sludge aren't collecting, so you're getting a lot of that flow through the rest of the plant. You're having to grab that up in other applications. It is a work in process.
Right.
It's an older, it'll continually.
So essentially, you're just basically repairing things to make it run smoother, to take the strain off of the other parts that are being strained now.
Yes, and we do have some other parts of the CIP, and we'll turn right back around and see if we can get CDBG funding, which, okay, we were awarded CDBG, but it went towards the improvements in the collection system.
So what exactly do we?
So what you're approving is in the, I'm asking for approval of the engineering services agreement for this project. The agreement is for over the life of this project, this $1 million project, is $91,000. Okay.
That starts a process so that we can start walking the project through survey design, but also that administration of the funds through OWRB and getting a contractor in place for bidding purposes and getting it built.
So we would have to spend, the city has to spend 91,000.
So the 91,000 will be expended from come out of the $1 million.
Okay. Let's go.
But I mean, listen, I'm a big fan of how they've been working with the water and sewer lines. I think everybody is. And so, I mean, any more improvements, just icing on the cake to me.
If we can, the thing about it is for what we have, a lot of the different things we can do at the wastewater plant. The 2 clarifiers that we need to rehab and the racetrack is going to be converted to diffused air. once we do that, we can handle, that'd be 1,000,004, 1,000,004, almost 1,000,005 in aeration.
Yeah.
All right. And, you know, with the sewer line projects we're working on, we've seen flows go from 300,000